Time and time again, I've increased prices for my SaaS businesses. And every single time I did it, while it was scary, everything got better. Conversion rates went up, retention went up, the quality of customers went up, growth increased. Over the last 12 months, I had to increase prices across 3 different companies that I operate. And again, I applied the same principles and the quality of everything we were doing got better. Here's the thing, every market is different. Every ICP is different. Every business is slightly different. However, there are 3 golden rules of pricing that has served me well over and over and over again. In this episode, I'm gonna actually walk you through the 3 specific principles that I followed across 3 very specific businesses that I operate, how we revamped our pricing strategy. And because of that, we were able to accelerate our growth. And by the time you finish this episode and you apply at least one of these principles to your business, the one that fits the most from these 3 very specific examples, you too will be able to accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. If you're already part of this community, if you're part of this channel, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. In my last company, ToutApp, there was one point where we hit a growth snag. Because we hit a growth snag, I got together 2 of my biggest investors, get into a room with them, and explain the entire situation to them. These 2 knew a thing or 2 about growing companies. They were 2 of the best, most prolific investors that exist in the world right now. And one of them snapped back, God, I just wish every single one of our portfolio companies would just figure out a way to raise prices. As they listened to my situation, very quickly they got to, look, you don't have a business model problem, you don't have a product problem, you just have a pricing problem. If you just charge more, every single one of the problems you've outlined would actually get solved. I took that to heart. We went back, we revamped our pricing, we revamped our ICP, we revamped our messaging because of the pricing and the ICP, and everything got better with the business. Over the last 12 months, I applied those same principles that I took to heart to 3 of my companies that were ready for that next stage of growth. And we applied these principles in very specific ways because each of these businesses are so different. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 specific ways we were able to revamp pricing. And because of that, everything started to increase in terms of growth for these businesses. So if you're excited to dig into example number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you watch till the end, at least one of these 3 principles will actually apply to your business. So make sure you stick around. Let's dig into principle number 1. Principle number 1, example number 1, is for a product that is actually product-led. It's product-led, so you just go into the product, you start building what you're building, and then you swipe the credit card to get started. It's a very, very simple experience. It's completely product-led. And right now, about 20% of the people that start this trial experience convert to revenue, which is something we're really excited about. Over time, though, we started this product at about $30 a month because that's just a simple place to start. But over time, we kept adding more and more and more features as we got more customer feedback, as we understood the use case more. And it came to a point where we were like, you know what? This is grossly underpriced for $30. So I wonder what would happen if we just increased it to $99. So we did that, and of course it was scary. So the thing that we did, which I teach in this channel all the time and all the clients I work with, is we grandfathered all the existing customers. Anyone that got in at the $30 rate stayed at the $30 rate. They didn't even know anything about it. They were happy. But every new person that was coming in, starting the trial experience, testing out the product, would then see that they have to pay $99. As soon as we did that, conversion rates actually increased. Retention of the customers actually improved. And because we had this scalable go-to-market strategy consistently driving in new trials, we just started to make more money, more growth, and retain more customers, and MRR started to accelerate that much more. This could have gone a bunch of different ways. It could have been that conversion rates tanked. It could have been that people looked at it and said, no, this is not worth $99, which is why we started at a low, no-brainer price of $30. As we started to prove that market out, we started to add more features to make sure that people really got complete value from the product. We tweaked the experience. We made sure that end-to-end everything was converting. Once we had the go-to-market strategy in place, the trials were flowing in, we knew the conversion rate, we knew our benchmark, then we ran a test and said, cool, it's $99 now. Let's see what happens. And as soon as we turned on the 99, more people started to convert. This is one of the things that I've learned in SaaS and just in business in general. People value your product based on the price. Meaning if you are charging $9 a month for your product, they're gonna think of your product, no matter how much it does for them, as just a $9 thing. If you charge it at $30, you're gonna signal to the market how much value that they will get. If you charge $99, yes, the expectation will be higher, but the perceived value will be higher as well. What we suspect is people were going through the experience, they were looking at the $30 price tag, it's a very competitive market we're in, and they were thinking, there's no way this tool is gonna be that good. They're only charging me $30 while the competitors are charging me 10 times more. This is probably not worth my time. But as soon as we started to put the $99 down, and also conceptually, we knew that we had a very competitive product, we had a very differentiated product, and we had a benchmark on what our conversion rate was, we knew that we would convert better, and that thesis proved out to be true. So for your SaaS business, if you are priced at a relatively low rate, one of the obvious things you can do is add another tier and look for upgrades. But the other test that you can run, if you've got a consistent set of trials coming through, is A/B test, grandfather existing people, and A/B test a new price at a higher rate and really articulate the value and say, look, for $99, you're going to be getting all of these things, sign up right here and see how it performs. For us, it worked phenomenally well. And this is not the first time I ran this play where I started at a low price, added features, beefed up the product, established a benchmark, and then increased prices. I did this for ToutApp, and I did this for other businesses as well. It works every single time because you're coming from a place of conviction. The best part about this is you have the benchmarks in place. So once you do $99, if 4 weeks later your conversion rate tanks or something's just not converting, in that scenario, you can always go back and no one is any wiser. But let's just consider another scenario. Let's just say your conversion rate goes down just a smidge. That means that you're converting less people. However, you're converting less people at a much higher price. So you net out with more revenue in the long run. This is another thing that I've learned in this kind of pricing change. When you charge a higher price, you tend to get people that are higher quality. You tend to get people that are able to afford that higher price. And the more people pay attention, the more they're going to use your product, the more quality they are, the less they're going to bog down your support systems, believe it or not. This is one of the unsaid rules of SaaS and really business for that matter. This principle of just increasing prices after you've established your baseline and you know things are flowing and seeing how conversions do after your baseline is very, very powerful. And it worked really well for us with our product. Principle number 2 is for a different business. So this is a PLG model. This other business that I operate is actually selling more to the mid-market and the enterprise. Just starting off and using the product is not really an option here. People want to talk to sales. And because people want to talk to sales, we have to establish a very high price point to begin with, because otherwise we would never be able to afford salespeople to sell this product. By nature, we started with a flat platform fee. So the way we structured the sales process was they would get on a call, they would get a demo, and they would say, look, in order to use the platform, it's X dollars per year, and we'll get you started right away. This is a very new product in the market. There's not a lot of competitive products out there, so people are new to this. So we saw that they were like, I don't know if this can do this, and I'm not gonna fork over that much money. So we started to test around with, okay, it's flat fee, but what you can do is get a 30-day pilot completely free. And then we also tested, well, we'll give your money back if it doesn't deliver results. In all of these cases, it didn't convert very well. So then we thought, you know what, why scare people with something so new with a flat fee that's so high, even though it's a sales process? What we did is we worked backwards. We said, look, in order for a deal to be worth it, it needs to be this amount. But let's just say we can get them in for a much lower amount. So what we did is we shifted the business from a flat fee structure, a platform fee that you have to pay to get into the product in the first place, we changed it to more of a usage-based structure. We said, look, it's super easy. We're gonna charge you per contact. And we're gonna start you off with 500 contacts, so it's roughly $299 a month. And then over time, as you scale the usage of the platform, we'll charge you more for additional contacts. It was as simple as that. What that allowed us to do is 2 things. It allowed us to remove the barrier of that upfront payment. We said, look, just start with whatever many contacts you feel comfortable with, and the floor is $299 per month. So that makes it super easy for them to say yes. And worst case scenario, they're like, okay, I'm not losing any money. There's no big risk here. There's no big paycheck being made. I'm good. There's no weird thing here. Okay, got it. But on the other side, we know they're going to be successful with the platform. So we know they're going to go well beyond those 500 contacts when they are successful, which means that over time, because it's usage-based pricing, they're going to ratchet up to that flat fee number that we had in the first place. We know these companies have a certain number of contacts. So because of that, we know we're going to hit that number when they are successful. What this allowed us to do is solve for both problems. We made the onboarding and the on-ramp super easy, just $299 a month for 500 contacts. But we also know that when they are successful, and we have conviction that they are going to be successful, we will earn that number we need to hit to be able to afford salespeople to sell this product. So in this kind of scenario, if you've got a business, you're selling to the mid-market or the enterprise, and you're in the early stages, it can be really tough to get people moving. Switching to a usage-based model where they have a very low entry point is incredibly powerful. The likes of Twilio, the likes of AWS operates this way. They never say, look, we'll give you all these unlimited servers, but in order to get access to our data center, you have to pay us $100,000. They just say, cool. It's fractions of a penny, and the more you use, the more you pay. And they know you're going to use more because they know you're going to be successful over the long run, which is why sometimes they'll even give you credits to get into their data center versus going with the competition. This is a very powerful principle that we've used in our business, and we're already seeing really positive signs. Now, I'll come back and do another episode on exactly how this pans out in the long run. However, already the opportunities that we're talking to are moving a lot faster through the buying process because we've made it such a no-brainer. This is partially where we're taking a bet on us. We know they're going to be successful, so we know the dollars we're spending in the sales process will make back in the long run because they will increase the number of contacts, and it's win-win because it removes a whole bunch of risk for the buyers because they're going into such a new platform. Super powerful principle number 2, which is switch to usage-based instead of trying to go for a really high flat fee, especially if you're in a sales process. Okay, so those are the first 2 examples. The third example is really exciting. Now, before I go into that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Are you starting to see the power that increasing prices is not just as simple as just increasing prices? You can do it in different ways. In the financial world, they call this structures. You can structure your pricing in different ways. You can package it in different ways. And you can get creative about it based on the objections you're seeing in the market. The power of this is to think critically about what your pricing strategy is and how to make it win-win for you and your customer so that everyone just says yes. If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Now, one more thing before I go to principle number 3 and example number 3. If you're in that stage where you're like, TK, I really want to revamp my pricing strategy, but I don't have enough leads coming in, or I don't have enough opportunities coming in so that I can test all of this. I don't have enough of a benchmark because I don't have enough pipeline to really know what's working and what's not. This is where, before you do the pricing strategy exercise, you really need a better go-to-market strategy. And go-to-market is what I talk about on this channel a lot, but more specifically, this is what I work one-on-one with founders on. So if you're in that stage where you just need more leads, need more opportunities, need more at-bats, so you can benchmark these things and then test the pricing and revamp the pricing, then I invite you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Let's go to example number 3. I'm really excited about this one. Example number 3 is for one of our businesses, we realized we were getting 2 different kinds of clients. We got one kind of client that had a lot of time and not as much capital. But then we started getting a lot of clients that had a lot of capital. They had big budgets and not a lot of time. And when they looked at our offering, they were concerned about the amount of time it would take for them to get results. So we went in and we said, okay, for the standard side of the market, they have a lot of time, not a lot of capital. So let's make it where they spend all the time that they have to actually figure out what they need to do. But for the later stage companies, we just added a consulting add-on. We added consulting services at 2.5x the price. And we said, look, you know that you don't have as much time to figure all this out, so we'll give you the platform, but we'll also work with you, but it's more expensive. And immediately, more and more people started to buy from that segment of the market because certain segments of the market have a lot of capital, but not as much time. So when they look at your platform and they're like, oh my God, I gotta figure this out, I gotta figure this out, I gotta go talk to that guy, they may not move, not because they don't have the budget, not because they don't see the value, but because they just don't have the time. And if you can pick up on that and you can say, look, I can actually make this super easy for you, where it's one click. We'll streamline the whole thing. We'll have our people come in, we'll onboard you. It's gonna be completely VIP. but it costs more and it's an extra price, more people will buy. That segment of the market would prefer to pay you more, almost as an insurance policy, knowing that you will make sure that they're successful with their investment. And that's the power of this third example that we did. And again, we incorporated this, and for that segment of the market, everything started to take off a lot faster, which is super powerful. So let's recap really quick. I wanna make sure you get these three examples. The first business, we basically just increased the price. We added so many features, we were like, we can increase the price and I bet our conversion rate will be just fine. In that case, conversion rates increased. In the second business, we went from flat fees to usage-based. Because we went usage-based, we were able to get people in at a much lower cost, but we knew that as they were successful, we would be able to get large enough deal sizes in the long run that would pay for the sales process. And that's starting to work really well. And the third one is we knew that some people were just worried about amount of time to results. So we added a much higher price tag and said, look, we'll streamline everything for you. And they started to buy that much faster. So now you know 3 specific ways that I revamp pricing across 3 companies that I operate so that we serve the customers in a better way. We gave them more and we got more conversions out of it. Now, what you may not have is enough leads or pipeline to test all this on. If you don't have enough pipeline, if you don't have enough leads, if you don't have enough trials, then it's really scary to make these tweaks in terms of pricing. Because you only got that one deal and you don't want to screw it up. This is where having a proper scalable go-to-market strategy comes into play. And this is how I help inside of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, we work together to revamp your go-to-market strategy and accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. There's 3 specific things we work on inside of the program. The first thing we work on is your ideal customer profile. Your ideal customer profile is the specific part of the market that you'll be going after. A lot of people think they have an ICP, but in reality, they don't. We do a 29-point analysis to figure out what your right ICP should be. Once you have your ICP, then we flesh out your manifesto. Your manifesto is your messaging, it's your positioning, and it's your strategic narrative. This is how you communicate your value to the market. When you have a manifesto, you're able to get in front of your ideal customers and differentiate yourself from the rest of the market. Once you have those 2 things, you have your core go-to-market strategy. Then we teach you how to run a Broadway show. A Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you can run to bring your manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis. And when you're doing that, what do? You get more trials, you get more opportunities, you get more leads, and based on that, you're able to convert more revenue. As you convert more revenue, and you have a scalable machine consistently generating opportunities for you, you're then able to revamp your pricing. And that way, with the same number of leads and opportunities, you're able to actually generate more revenues and accelerate the growth of your SaaS business. The SaaS go-to-market program is an incredible program. If you want to work together inside of the go-to-market program and revamp your go-to-market strategy so you get more trials, you get more opportunities, you get more revenues flowing, and you're able to revamp your pricing strategy, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches, just like this one. So if you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. You'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. If you have a fellow founder, if you have a fellow team member, if you're part of a Slack group or a WhatsApp group with other SaaS founders and SaaS leaders, please share this video with them. We want to serve as many SaaS founders as possible, helping you build incredible SaaS companies. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. Take care, everybody.